Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of What About Jesus with Gene and Grady. I'm Grady.
I'm Gene.
And, man, it's good to be back here. It's been quite an eventful February for at least myself.
Yeah.
We're through Valentine's Day, and now we're just kind of, I don't know if coasting's the right word, but we got a little bit of time before our next big event.
Yeah. What is our next big event? You got retreat?
For us, we have the retreat in March.
Yeah. Okay. That's what, March 9th?
It is, 8th, 9th, and 10th.
Okay.
So.
All right. So, yeah, because I'll be out of town.
Yeah.
I'm going to see Billy Joel.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Me and Hannah almost went and saw it. So we were going to go see Billy Joel in New York, Madison Square Garden.
Yeah.
But so we had this whole trip planned out. We were actually going to be in New York the last week of December. We're going to be in New York on our first Christmas as a married couple. We had a hotel we had it booked. We were all good to go. And then Hannah got pregnant, and we decided to move back to Oklahoma. Yeah. So those plans were canceled.
Now, here's something funny about Billy Joel.
Yeah.
Billy Joel's my wife's favorite artist.
Yeah.
Okay. When she was in high school, she had an opportunity to go see Billy Joel in concert.
Mm-hmm.
Well, her mom said, no, you can't go because there's a lot of marijuana smoking going on at concerts, and you can't go.
Yeah.
So she took it as best she can, and then another opportunity came up to go see Doobie Brothers with her high school friend.
Yeah.
And her mom let her go.
Interesting.
So my wife and I, we laugh about that one all the time.
Yeah.
Nope, can't see Billy Joel, but you can go see Doobie Brothers.
All right. Naturally.
Yeah. So, well, you had, speaking of Valentine, you had a Galentine gathering and a Palatine gathering.
Yeah.
For this old man, and for who out there, does everyone know what a Galentine is and a Palatine?
So, Galentine's was a party for just the girls.
Okay.
Just the girls hang out.
Okay.
So gals, all the gals hanging out.
Okay.
And just having a little party, getting together, painting bags, and they had little Devo, stuff like that. Just a fun little get together. Valentine's the same thing, except we had breakfast food, beef jerky. We played flag football. So just a bro hangout.
Nice.
So,
okay. That's good.
Great. It was bros, bacon, breakfast. The Batman was there.
Batman?
Nice.
Was there. He must have been the young version because I've seen the older version.
Yeah, that's true.
So he was the young version?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, our word for the week is juncture. Okay. Now you probably have heard that, and that is like, how would you define that word in your terms?
If I'm not mistaken, it's like an event of some sorts, right? Or is that?
No, sometimes it's like a crossroads. You come to a juncture.
Okay.
Okay. But not in the South. Okay. So here we are, viewers. Here's the word juncture. And it's like you go to your friend's house and you look at him and you go, hey, you throwing that away? That juncture looks good to me. Mm-hmm. So there you go. Now you've learned the Southern word of juncture.
Right.
So, yeah. It's just something, one man's junk is another man's treasure.
Right.
So,
as they say.
Yeah. But we had a good worship this past Sunday with Kevin's sermon. And even though we had some technical difficulties in a few places, but it still was a good sermon of John 18:28 through 40. This is Jesus standing before Caiaphas and Pilate. And so what did you pick up from the sermon that you thought was impactful to you?
Well, the whole story, I think the biggest thing that everyone kind of remembers from that story is that, them letting Barabbas go instead of Jesus, which is just, it's just, it really just, the whole irony of this entire situation.
Right.
Planning a scheme to arrest the holiest man that's ever walked the earth.
Yeah.
Had another opportunity, multiple opportunities to stop what they were doing. Instead, they just let another sinner go, another criminal go. It's just like, it's crazy.
And I like how Kevin brought the fact up, they were standing there, he's standing there before Pilate, and the chief priest and them are accusing him of, sin. What was it? How did they put it? teaching the people, causing riots or mayhem, or what was that? Did they say? I can't remember exactly, but it's Jesus' response that stood out to me. Going, "Hey guys, I taught in your synagogues. Everything I spoke about in public in front of all the people and you.
I have spoken openly to the world. I have always taught in synagogues and in the temple where all the Jews come together. I have nothing in secret. Why do you ask me? Ask those who have heard me and what I said to them. They know what I said."
Yeah. So I thought that was thinking. Yeah, I mean, they're desperate to get rid of Jesus.
Yeah.
And they're making up all this unjustness before him, and he's going, "Hey, there's nothing that should surprise you."
Yeah. I've been teaching. Since I was 12, I've been teaching.
Yeah.
So, I mean, go ask the people who I've been teaching to. And they can
just that being so unjust towards Jesus, I mean, that's something else.
Yeah.
But you brought up the name Barabbas, and when Kevin put that last phrase up, that probably set me back a little bit. Had to think about it, where he says, "I am Barabbas." How we live our life, a lot of times we tend to live it the way we want to. But what do you think? What was going through? Okay, if you were Barabbas, okay, you caused riots. Okay, you killed people. You stole from them, probably before you killed them, so that you finally get caught. You're in prison. You're about to die. You just know you are, because that's the punishment. But now, all of a sudden, you hear about Jesus, okay, and you're set free. What would be going through your mind?
If I was Barabbas, I was sitting in prison during this whole time. I'd be like, man, this Jesus guy must be a pretty bad dude if he's getting out instead of me. But, I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously, Barabbas knew that he was a guilty man. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I've often wondered that. If I was Barabbas, what would go through? I mean, I can remember a movie they did about the crucifixion. Probably I was early teen, and I can remember the picture of Barabbas getting pushed out of the prison and through the doors, and he kind of gets pushed against the wall, and then he takes off running, but he kind of has a hesitation to his step, thinking, why am I being let go of all people?
Yeah.
You know, but and he heard about Jesus after. Well, he's probably heard about him even before, but really being chosen to be let go over instead of Jesus. So
yeah,
it's just one of those things. But when Kevin put that up on the screen and said, "I am Barabbas," I couldn't help but think, going, yeah, I've made decisions that would have fallen into the unholy category that would have been displeasing.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
Made me rethink my walk with Jesus, for sure.
Yeah, and I mean, this is the season of love, right?
Right.
The day. I mean, we're recording this the day after Valentine's Day, and it won't go out for another week or so.
Right.
But we're recording this day after Valentine's Day, and this whole season is based around love, right? And we can get caught up in that idea of love, and we lose sight of who loved us first, right?
Right.
And you know, we can look at other people and say, you know, where's their passion? Or we can look at groups, or, you know, I brought this up to the youth group. Like, let's say there's a time in this youth group where we don't feel like the passion is there in worship.
Okay.
Or we don't feel like the passion is there on trips, or we don't feel like the excitement is there in class or for events and stuff. Well, the first person you have to ask about is yourself. Right. You can't, you know, point the other finger. You can look at other people and judge them. If you feel like, you know, you're part of a group and that group is lacking, you have to look at yourself first, because you're part of that group, and look at your relationship with God, and you know, you're not going to be secure in any relationship until you have a security in that, you know, relationship with Him, and to look at ourselves and realize, like, you know, any disconnect that we have from God's because of us. It's not because of Him.
Yeah, I mean, for this relationship to work, viewers and listeners, this is going between Grady and I, can only happen if my relationship with God is happening first and foremost.
Yeah.
Once you have your relationship with God, then you can have that right relationship with one another. I can remember when I became a minister for full time for the very first time back 14 years ago. I had a young man come into my office and was telling me, that his wife was wanting a divorce and what did he need to do. And I looked at him. That was my first question. I said, well, how's your relationship with God? I go, if it's not right with God, you can't make it right with your wife. So I never heard from him again.
Yeah.
Which I thought was sad. But I guess he was hoping I had all the answers of getting his wife back. But I did. I did have the answer.
Yeah.
But not what he wanted to hear.
We don't have the answer. He does.
That's right. So, well, what else about Sunday or anything that we could take going forward from this?
I think we just need to, as we go into the months, last few months of school, leading up into the months of summer, where at least in the youth group, there's a lot of, excitement bubbling around that. Things can tend to drag by, and we can lose focus on, with everything that's going on, we can lose focus on the reason why we do anything at all. As Christians and prioritize our relationship with God. Let's actually just take a step back and look at, how is my relationship with Him and how can I improve it? Even if you have a good relationship with God, even if you are in your scripture every day, even if you come to worship and you are involved in serving and you are involved, take a look at your relationship with Jesus. Like, am I doing all the right things? Right? Am I doing what needs to be done in my life to improve that relationship? What is it? And so it's a message to the church in Ephesus, right? In Revelation chapter 2.
Yeah.
Right? It's like 17?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
So, and they're writing this letter, and essentially this church is being told, like, look, you are a good church, you do all the right things, but there's a false prophet among you, and you need to, find the false prophet or something. And so the church essentially, they do their job. This church, let's see here, I'm going to let's see here, 2:17.
Well, 2:17 is going to be at the store. It's the message to Pergamum.
Let's see here.
Ephesus starts off chapter 2.
Maybe it's at the beginning. Anyways, the whole point of what I'm getting at is that the church in Ephesus, they were good. They were a solid church. They knew what they were supposed to do in terms of, checking off what they needed to do. But what was missing in their hearts was love.
Yes.
And that can happen very quickly in our lives today. Even devoted members of the church and devoted members of their faith, you can do all the right things. You can read your Bible. You can come to worship. You can know all the right things to do to fend off evil in this world. But if you're not continually trying to improve your relationship with God and with Jesus, then where are you at in your faith is the question. And so even for those who are struggling right now, all the way up to those who are solid right now, where can you improve your relationship with God? And have you even asked Him for a while? Have you asked God in a while?
When's the last time you talked with God? Because sometimes we treat God like a 911 call. Sometimes we treat Him like, he's an okay friend. I'll talk with him every now and then. But He's the God of gods, and He's the Father in heaven, and He wants to talk with you and hear from you each and every day. Just think when Ring grows up. You want to hear from her every day. You want to know all about what's happening and going on and how you can help her. But if she never talks to you, what kind of relationship do you end up having? A broken one. So, I agree with you. If you're not doing it for love, then there's no reason to do it. So I hope viewers and listeners, you can take the account of Jesus's trial, the unjustness that Jesus was innocent, Barabbas was the guilty one, And Jesus suffered as if he was guilty. Barabbas was set free as if he was innocent. You know, how's that line up to our own stories? And like you were saying, Grady. Who's Grant? I don't know. We'll think of something later on. But it's all about love. Jesus went to the cross because of love. He stayed on the cross because of love. So, and we should return that same favor to him by loving him, right? All right. So I pray that you all will take what we've shared with you to heart and evaluate your relationship with God, because the closer you are to God, the more blessed you will be, and that's my prayer. And so I say so long from Gene.
See you later from Grady.
And God bless.